The stars look different here. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the research ship Aurora and watched the alien sun cast strange shadows across the asteroid field. They had traveled for 8 months to reach this place. Now they were about to meet a new species for the first time. "Captain, we're getting signals from the third moon," said Alex Rodriguez from his chair at the communications desk. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's definitely not natural. Someone is trying to talk to us." Jake walked over to look at the screen. The signals were strong and came in patterns. This meant intelligence. This meant they had found what they came looking for. "Dr. Chen, are you ready for this?" Jake asked. Lisa Chen looked up from her science station. She had been studying everything they knew about this system for weeks. Her job was to understand any life forms they might find. "As ready as anyone can be for meeting aliens," she said with a small smile. The first message came through an hour later. The translation computer worked hard to make sense of the alien language. What came out made Jake's blood run cold. "Small ship with soft creatures. You enter our hunting grounds. State your purpose or be destroyed." Jake looked at his crew. They had trained for this moment, but training felt different from the real thing. "Alex, send our standard first contact message. Tell them we come in peace and want to talk." The response came back quickly. "Soft creatures do not speak for themselves in our space. Send your hunt leader to the moon surface. Come alone, or do not come at all." Lisa shook her head. "Captain, this could be a trap. We don't know anything about them." "We came here to make contact," Jake said. "Sometimes you have to take risks." He turned to his security chief. "Amy, prep the shuttle. I'm going down." Amy Brooks had been with Jake for 5 years. She knew better than to argue when he made up his mind. "I'll have the ship ready to pull you out fast if things go wrong," she said. The moon's surface was rocky and cold. Jake's shuttle landed in a clearing surrounded by tall stone pillars. As he stepped out in his environmental suit, he saw them waiting for him. They were huge. Each one stood at least 8 feet tall. Their bodies were covered in thick fur that ranged from dark gray to black. They had long snouts filled with sharp teeth and eyes that glowed yellow in the dim light. They looked like wolves, but wolves that stood on 2 legs and carried weapons. The largest one stepped forward. Scars covered his face and arms. When he spoke, his voice was deep and rough. "I am Scarthek, hunt leader of the Blood Fang Pack. You are the soft creature who claims to lead." Jake tried to keep his voice steady. "I am Captain Jake Morrison. I represent the human race. We come seeking friendship between our peoples." The alien creatures made sounds that might have been laughter, but it sounded more like growling. "Friendship?" Scarthek showed his teeth. "Soft creatures like you are prey, not friends. You have no fangs, no claws, no fur to protect you from the cold. What could we possibly want from such weak beings?" "We may look different, but we have much to offer," Jake said. "We have knowledge, technology, and the ability to travel between stars." Another alien, smaller but with more scars, stepped forward. "I am War Chief Grackmore. Your flying metal box brought you here, but that means nothing. Any species can build ships if they steal the right technology. Show us your strength, soft creature. Prove you are more than prey." Jake felt sweat inside his suit despite the cold air. This was not going the way they had hoped. "We prefer to solve problems with words rather than violence." The aliens made that growling sound again. "Words," Scarthek said with disgust. "Prey animals make noise when they are afraid. Hunters act." Suddenly, Jake's scanner started beeping. The sound was loud in the quiet air. The aliens immediately became aggressive, raising their weapons and snarling. "What is that noise?" Grackmore demanded. "Is this some kind of attack?" "No, it's just a scanner," Jake said quickly, reaching slowly for the device on his belt. "It tells us about the environment around us." But as Jake moved his scanner to show them, something went wrong. The device sent out a pulse of energy that lit up the area. At the same moment, several younger aliens who had been hiding behind, the larger ones cried out in what sounded like pain or fear. The adult aliens immediately surrounded the younger ones, protecting them. Jake realized these must be their children. The scanner pulse had somehow hurt or scared them. "You attack our cubs," Scarthek roared, raising a weapon that looked like a spear with an energy tip. "This is an act of war." "Wait," Jake threw his hands up. "It was an accident. The scanner isn't a weapon. It was never meant to hurt anyone." But the damage was done. The young aliens were making distressed sounds, and their parents were furious. Jake could see that some of the cubs looked thin and weak, not at all like the strong adults protecting them. "Leave our space now," Grackmore said, his voice full of threat. "If we see your ship again, we will destroy it. The Bloodfang Pack does not forget insults to our young." Jake backed toward his shuttle. "Please, let us explain. We want to help, not hurt." "Soft creatures cannot help hunters," Scarthek said. "You can only run and hide like all prey species. Go now before we decide to hunt you." As Jake's shuttle lifted off, he looked down at the aliens through the window. The adults were checking on their young, and he could see the worry in their movements. Something was wrong with those cubs, something beyond what his scanner had done. Back on the Aurora, Jake called his senior staff together. "That didn't go well," he told them. "They see us as weak, and we accidentally made things worse." Lisa looked at her readings from the encounter. "Captain, I noticed something. Those young ones we saw, they didn't look healthy. Some appeared malnourished, and their movements seemed sluggish." "What do you think that means?" Jake asked. "I'm not sure yet," Lisa said. "But if I had to guess, I'd say they're dealing with some kind of health crisis among their children. That might explain why they were so protective and aggressive when they thought we had hurt them." Jake stared out at the moon where the aliens lived. First contact had failed, but maybe there was still hope. If their children were in danger, perhaps that could become a bridge between their species instead of a wall. "Keep monitoring their communications," he told Alex. "If they reach out again, we need to be ready." 3 weeks passed in silence. Then, one day, Alex rushed to Jake's cabin with an urgent message. "Captain, they're calling us," Alex said, "and this time they sound desperate." The message from the aliens came at 3 a.m, ship time. Jake woke to the sound of his communication device beeping urgently. He rolled out of bed and pressed the answer button. "Captain, you need to get to the bridge now," Alex's voice said. "The aliens are calling us and they sound different this time." Jake threw on his uniform and ran to the bridge. When he arrived, Alex was already working at his station. The translation computer was processing the alien language, but Jake could hear the emotion in the original voice even without understanding the words. "What are they saying?" Jake asked. Alex looked up with worry in his eyes. "They're asking for help, Captain, and they're begging." The translated message came through clearly. It was Scarthek, the hunt leader they had met 3 weeks ago. But his voice sounded broken now. "Soft creatures of the metal ship, I am Scarthek of the Bloodfang Pack. I speak words that bring shame to my ancestors. We need your help. Our cubs are dying, and we do not know why." Jake sat down heavily in his captain's chair. "Put me through to them, Alex." The connection opened. Jake spoke carefully, remembering how proud these aliens were. "Hunt leader Scarthek, this is Captain Morrison. We hear your words. What is happening to your young?" There was a long pause before Scarthek answered. When he did, his voice was full of pain. "A sickness came to our cubs 2 moons ago. First, they stopped eating. Then they became weak and could not play. Now they lie still and hot, and some have stopped breathing forever. Our healers know all the old ways, but nothing works. The sickness laughs at our medicine." Lisa had arrived on the bridge during the conversation. She was listening carefully, to every word. "Captain, ask him about the symptoms. I need to know exactly what's happening to them." Jake nodded. "Hunt leader, our healer wants to know more about this sickness. Can you describe what you see when you look at the sick cubs?" "Your healer?" Scarthek's voice became suspicious again. "What can soft creatures know about treating hunters?" "We have medicine that has saved many of our own young," Jake said. "Perhaps we can help yours too." Another voice came through the communication. It was War Chief Grackmore, and he sounded angry. "This is foolish, Scarthek. Prey animals cannot heal. Predators. They will make our cubs weaker with their soft ways. But Scarthek's voice was desperate. Grackmore, we have lost 12 cubs in the last 5 days. 12. If we do nothing, we will lose them all. What choice do we have? Jake heard other voices in the background. The aliens were arguing among themselves. Some wanted to accept human help. Others thought it was shameful to ask prey species for anything. Finally, Scarthek spoke again. Soft creature, Captain. If we allow your healer to see our cubs, what do you want in return? What is your price for this help? The question surprised Jake. There is no price, Hunt Leader. If we can save your children, that is reward enough for us. The silence that followed lasted so long that Jake wondered if the connection had been lost. When Scarthek spoke again, his voice was confused. No price? All things have a price. You must want something. Territory, resources, submission. We want nothing except to help sick children, Jake said simply. Lisa stepped forward. Captain, ask if we can come down to examine the cubs. I need to see them in person to understand what's wrong. Jake relayed the request. This started another argument among the aliens. Jake could hear them debating fiercely in their own language. The translation computer could only catch pieces of it, but the emotions were clear. Fear, pride, desperation, and anger all mixed together. After 10 minutes, Scarthek returned. Very well. You may bring your healer and 2 others. But know this, soft creatures. If you harm our cubs, if this is some trick, we will hunt you across the stars until the end of time. Understood, Jake said. We will come as friends and healers. Nothing more. 2 hours later, Jake, Lisa, and Tom Bradley, the ship's medical officer, took a shuttle down to the moon's surface. This time they landed near a large cave system that served as the aliens' main settlement. The aliens who met them looked different from before. Their fur was dull and their eyes held worry instead of aggression. Even Scarthek, who had seemed so fierce during their first meeting, now looked tired and defeated. Follow me, Scarthek said. But move slowly and make no sudden motions. The parents are frightened for their cubs. They walked through tunnels carved into the rock. The walls were covered with pictures that seemed to tell stories of great hunts and battles. But now the caves were quiet, except for the sound of soft whimpering. The nursery chamber was large and warm. Jake had expected to see fierce young predators, but what he found broke his heart. Dozens of small aliens lay on soft bedding, barely moving. Their parents sat beside them, making low singing sounds that might have been lullabies. The cubs were clearly very sick. Their fur was patchy, their breathing was labored, and many were too weak to lift their heads. Some parents looked up as the humans entered, their eyes full of desperate hope. Lisa knelt down beside the nearest cub. Its mother growled softly but didn't move away. It's okay, Lisa whispered, even though she knew the alien couldn't understand her words. I just want to help. She pulled out her medical scanner, the same type of device that had caused problems during their first meeting. Several adult aliens tensed, but Scarthek held up a hand to keep them calm. She needs to use her healing tools, he told his people. We must trust them. Lisa ran the scanner slowly over several cubs. Tom did the same with others. What they found made Lisa's blood run cold. Captain, she whispered to Jake, this isn't a natural disease. The readings I'm getting suggest this is a virus, but one that's been mutated somehow. It's specifically targeting their immune systems. Can you treat it? Jake asked quietly. Lisa looked around at all the sick cubs and their worried parents. Maybe. But I'll need to get them back to our ship to use the main medical computers, and we'll need samples of their blood and tissue to create the right medicine. Tom nodded in agreement. The virus seems designed to attack young aliens, but not adults. That's why only the cubs are getting sick. Jake turned to Scarthek. Hunt Leader, our healers think they can help, but they need to take some of the cubs to our ship. Our medicine works differently than yours. The reaction was immediate. Every adult alien in the chamber started growling and showing their teeth. The idea of letting strangers take their children away was clearly unthinkable. Never, Grackmore snarled. You ask us to give you our most precious cubs? This proves you are hunters, not healers. But Scarthek looked at his own cub. a small female who hadn't moved in hours. What if we send guards with you? What if some of our healers come too? Lisa nodded quickly. Yes, that would work. We can teach your healers as we work. Then they can help treat the others. The debate that followed was long and heated. Some aliens wanted to refuse completely. Others argued that they had no choice. In the end, it was the sight of another cub dying in its mother's arms that made the decision for them. We will try your way, Scarthek said finally. But if our cubs are harmed, there will be no place in the universe where you can hide from our vengeance. Understood, Jake said. We will protect them as if they were our own children. As they prepared to leave with the sickest cubs, Jake noticed something that would stay with him forever. The alien parents were singing to their children the same way human parents did. Love, it seemed, was the same in any language. The medical bay of the Aurora had never been so crowded. 6 sick alien cubs lay on examination tables while their parents stood guard nearby. The adult aliens filled most of the space with their large bodies. Their yellow eyes watched every move the human doctors made. Lisa worked at her computer while Tom ran tests on blood samples. The results were worse than they had feared. The virus was not just attacking the cubs' immune systems. It was changing and growing stronger with each day. Captain, we have a problem, Lisa said quietly to Jake. This virus is more complex than anything I've seen before. It's almost like it was designed to kill these specific aliens. Jake looked at the sick cubs breathing slowly on the medical tables. What do you mean designed? I mean it targets their DNA in a very specific way, Lisa explained. It only attacks the young ones because their immune systems are still developing. Adult aliens are completely safe from it. Tom looked up from his microscope. The good news is, we can make medicine to fight it. The bad news is each cub needs a different treatment based on their individual genetics. How different? Jake asked. Very different, Tom said. We'll need to create a custom medicine for each sick cub, and there are over 60 cubs sick on the moon below. Jake felt a cold feeling in his stomach. How long will that take? Lisa checked her calculations. Working non-stop, maybe 4 days for each treatment. But Captain, we have another problem. She pulled up a display showing the ship's medical supplies. The numbers were not good. Making this much medicine will use almost all our medical supplies, Lisa said. We'll have barely anything left for our own crew if someone gets sick on the way home. The room became very quiet. The alien parents couldn't understand the human language, but they could sense the serious tone of the conversation. Scarthek stepped forward. What do your healers say? He asked. Can they save our cubs? Jake looked at his medical team, then at the worried alien parents. We can save them, but it will be difficult and take time. Time we do not have, said Grackmore. 3 more cubs died while we have been here. How long before you can make this medicine? Tom answered honestly. Several days for each treatment, and we need to make treatments for every sick cub on your moon. The alien parents made sounds of distress. Several days meant more cubs would die while they waited. There might be another way, Lisa said suddenly. If we can create a base medicine, we might be able to modify it quickly for each cub. It would be faster but much more dangerous. Dangerous how? Jake asked. If we make even a small mistake, the medicine could kill instead of cure, Lisa explained. We'd be working with very little room for error. Scarthek had been listening carefully. What do you need to try this dangerous way? Lisa looked at her captain before answering. We need to use almost all our medical supplies. If anything goes wrong, we won't have medicine left to help our own people if they get sick. And if our cubs die, it will not matter what happens to your people, Grackmore said grimly. Jake called his senior officers together. Amy Brooks, the security chief, came quickly. So did Sam Parker, the chief engineer, and Ben Clark, the navigator. They gathered in a corner of the medical bay to talk privately. The situation is simple, Jake told them. We can save these alien children, but it will use up our emergency medical supplies. If any of us get sick on the trip home, we might not make it back to Earth. Amy was the first to speak. Captain, our duty is to our own crew first. We can't risk human lives for aliens we just met. Those are children dying down there, Tom said from across the room. Sick children who did nothing wrong. Sam Parker looked at the alien cubs on the medical tables. How sure are we that this treatment will work? Maybe 70% chance, Lisa admitted. But without treatment, they'll all die for certain. Ben Clark had been quiet, but now he spoke up. My daughter's about the same age as some of these cubs. If she was dying and aliens could save her, I'd want them to try. That's different, Amy argued. Your daughter is human. Is it different? Jake asked quietly. Look at those parents. Tell me they love their children any less than we love ours. The debate continued for 20 minutes. Every officer had valid points. Their first duty was to their own crew and mission. But these were innocent children who would die without help. Finally, Jake made the decision that would define the rest of the mission. We're going to help them, all of them. Captain, Amy said, what if this goes wrong? What if we can't make it home? Then we'll face that problem when it comes, Jake said. But I won't let children die when we have the power to save them. Lisa went back to work immediately. She began creating the base medicine while Tom prepared the equipment they would need. The alien healers watched everything closely, trying to learn what they could. Why do you do this? Scarthek asked Jake during a quiet moment. Your people gain nothing from saving ours. Jake thought about how to explain it in simple words the translator could handle. On our world, we believe that protecting children is the most important thing anyone can do. It doesn't matter if they're human children or alien children. Scarthek looked confused. But these are not your pack, not your blood. Your own people might suffer for this choice. Sometimes the right choice is not the safe choice, Jake said. Grackmore had been listening to the conversation. I do not understand you soft creatures. You risk your lives for young that are not yours. This makes no sense for a prey species. Tom looked up from his work. Maybe that's why we're not prey. The first treatment was ready after 18 hours of non-stop work. Lisa had created a base medicine that could be quickly modified for individual cubs. The first test subject was Scarthek's own daughter, a small cub who had been unconscious for 2 days. If this goes wrong, Scarthek said, if my daughter dies from your medicine, I will kill you myself. Understood, Lisa said simply. She injected the medicine into the cub's arm. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. The cub continued to breathe slowly, her eyes closed. The adult aliens watched without making a sound. Then slowly the cub's breathing became easier. Her fever began to drop. After an hour, she opened her eyes for the first time in days. Scarthek made a sound that was part growl, part sob. He reached out gently to touch his daughter's face. She looked at him and made a small sound that was clearly the alien version of Daddy. It works, Tom said with relief. The treatment works. But their celebration was short. Lisa looked at her supply, readouts, and shook her head. We use more medicine than I calculated. At this rate, we'll run out of supplies before we can treat all the cubs. Jake felt his heart sink. They had proven the treatment worked, but they might not have enough medicine to save everyone. How many can we save with what we have left? He asked. Lisa did quick calculations. Maybe half of them, 40 cubs at most. The alien parents who understood some human language began to look worried. They had hoped all their children could be saved. Which cubs do we save? Grackmore asked the terrible question. How do we choose which children live and which die? Jake looked around the medical bay at all the worried faces, both human and alien. They had solved one problem only to discover a worse one. How do you choose which children deserve to live? There has to be another way, he said. There has to be. But as he looked at their dwindling medical supplies, Jake wondered if they had promised more than they could deliver. The next few hours would determine whether their noble intentions would lead to salvation or tragedy. The next morning brought both hope and despair. Lisa had worked through the night and made a discovery that changed everything. She called Jake to the medical lab where she had been testing different combinations of medicines. Captain, I think, I found a way to make the medicine stretch further, she said, pointing to her computer screen. If we dilute the base compound and add a synthetic booster, We can make enough treatments for all the cubs. Jake felt a spark of hope. That's wonderful news. What's the catch? Lisa's face became serious. The diluted medicine will be much weaker. It will take longer to work, and the cubs will need multiple treatments over several days. Plus, we'll need to use our emergency medical supplies completely. Every last drop. Tom looked up from where he was preparing another treatment. Captain, that means if anyone on our crew gets seriously sick during the journey home, we won't have anything to help them. No medicine for infections, injuries, or diseases. Jake understood the weight of this decision. The trip back to Earth would take 8 months. Anything could happen during that time. A simple infection that could normally be cured easily might become deadly without proper medicine. How long is our journey home? Jake asked Ben Clark, who had just entered the medical bay. 8 months, 2 weeks, Ben answered. That's a long time to go without medical supplies, Captain. Amy Brooks shook her head. This is madness. We're risking the lives of our entire crew for aliens we barely know. Those aliens are children, Kate Foster said. She had been working with Lisa to analyze the virus. Innocent children who will die without our help. The argument that followed was intense but quiet, since the alien parents were nearby. Some crew members believed they should save as many cubs as they could with half their supplies and keep the rest for emergencies. Others wanted to give everything to save all the alien children. Let's ask the crew to vote, Jake said finally. This decision affects everyone on the ship. Within an hour, all 43 crew members had gathered in the ship's main meeting room. Jake explained the situation clearly. They could save all the alien cubs, but it would mean traveling home with no medical supplies at all. Ryan Lee, one of the junior officers, spoke first. Captain, I joined Starfleet to explore space and help people. If we can save 60 children, I think we should do it. But what if we can't make it home? Asked one of the engineers. What if someone gets sick and dies because we have no medicine left? What if we let those cubs die and have to live with that choice for the rest of our lives? Kate Foster replied. The debate continued for an hour. Points were made on both sides. The risk was real and serious. But so was the chance to save innocent lives. Finally, they held a vote. Jake watched as each crew member made their choice. When the votes were counted, the result was clear. 38 crew members voted to use all their medical supplies to save the alien cubs. Only 5 voted against it. Amy Brooks, who had voted against the plan, stood up after the results were announced. Captain, I still think this is dangerous. But if this is what the crew wants, then I support the decision. We're all in this together. Jake felt proud of his crew, but also worried about what lay ahead. Thank you all. Lisa, begin making the diluted medicine. Tom, prepare for multiple treatment sessions. Everyone else, let's make sure our ship is in perfect condition for the journey home. The work began immediately. Lisa and her team worked around the clock to produce enough medicine for all the sick cubs. The alien healers watched and learned, helping wherever they could. Tom showed remarkable gentleness with the frightened cubs. Despite their size and fierce appearance as adults, the young aliens were small and scared. Tom spoke softly to them during treatments, even though they couldn't understand his words. The cubs seemed to sense his kindness and became less afraid. You have a gift with the young ones, Skarthek told Tom during one treatment session. Even our own healers cannot calm them as you do. Children are children, Tom replied. Fear and pain are the same in any species. The treatments began to work, but slowly. Unlike the first dramatic cure of Skarthek's daughter, the diluted medicine took days to show results. The cubs gradually became more active, their fevers dropped, and they began to eat again. But the work was exhausting. Lisa hadn't slept more than 2 hours at a time in 3 days. Kate Foster had dark circles under her eyes from analyzing blood samples. Ryan Lee had been helping to transport cubs between the ship and the moon surface without a break. On the 4th day, disaster struck. Kate Foster collapsed while working in the lab. She had pushed herself too hard and developed a high fever. Tom examined her and found she had contracted a bacterial infection, probably from being run down and exposed to alien microorganisms. She needs antibiotics. Tom told Jake privately. Strong ones, and she needs them soon. Jake felt his heart sink. We used the last of our antibiotics yesterday to make medicine for the cubs. Then we have a problem, Tom said grimly. Without treatment, this infection could kill her. The alien healers noticed the commotion around Kate. Scarthek approached Jake with concern in his voice. Is your healer sick? Yes, Jake said. She became ill from working too hard to save your cubs. Now we have no medicine left to help her. Scarthek was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke to the other alien parents in their own language. They talked quickly and urgently. Soft creature captain, Scarthek said finally. Our healers know plants that can fight the sickness in your healer. They are not as strong as your medicines, but they might help. Would they really work on humans? Jake asked. We do not know, Scarthek admitted. But your people risked everything to save our cubs. Now we risk what we can to save your healer. The alien healers worked with Tom to prepare plant-based medicines from the moon's surface. They had to guess at the right doses for human biology. It was dangerous, but Kate was getting worse, and they had no other choice. As they gave Kate the alien medicine, Jake realized something profound was happening. The aliens were no longer seeing humans as weak prey animals. They were seeing them as friends willing to sacrifice for others. Why do you help us? Jake asked Scarthek as they waited to see if the alien medicine would work. Because you taught us something important, Scarthek replied. You showed us that true strength is not about being the fiercest hunter. True strength is about protecting those who cannot protect themselves, even if they are not your own kind. Grockmore, who had been the most suspicious of humans, nodded in agreement. We judged you wrongly, soft creatures. You are not prey. You are protectors. That makes you stronger than any hunter. Over the next 2 days, Kate's fever broke and she began to recover. The alien plant medicines had worked. At the same time, the last of the sick cubs were pronounced healthy and ready to return to their families. As Jake prepared to leave the alien moon, he knew that both species had been changed by this experience. The humans had proven that compassion could be stronger than self-preservation. The aliens had learned that strength came in many forms. We will remember what you have done, Scarthek told Jake as they said goodbye. The Bloodfang Pack owes a debt that can never be repaid. There is no debt, Jake replied. We did what anyone should do when children are in danger. As the Aurora prepared to begin its long journey home, Jake looked at his crew. They had given up their safety for strangers, and somehow that sacrifice had made them all stronger. The real test would come during the 8-month journey ahead, but Jake had never been more proud of his people. 6 months had passed since the Aurora left the alien moon. The journey home had been difficult, but the crew had survived. 3 people had gotten sick during the trip, but each time the alien plant medicines had worked. Kate Foster had become an expert in using the alien healing method she had learned from Scarthek's healers. Now the Aurora was returning to the alien system with a full medical supply ship and a diplomatic team. Jake stood on the bridge watching the familiar moon grow larger on the screen. He wondered how much had changed since they left. Captain, we're receiving a message, Alex said. It's coming from the moon, but also from several ships in orbit. Jake was surprised. Ships? The aliens didn't have spaceships when we left. They do now, Ben Clark reported from his navigation station. I'm counting 12 vessels. They look like a mix of alien design and human technology. The message came through, clearly. It was Scarthek, but his voice sounded different, stronger and more confident. Welcome back, friends of the Bloodfang Pack. We have been waiting for you. Much has changed since you left our world. Jake smiled. Hunt Leader Scarthek, it's good to hear your voice again. We've brought medical, supplies, and people who want to learn more about your culture. And we have much to show you, Scarthek replied. Come to the surface when you are ready. There is a ceremony waiting for you. As the shuttle descended to the moon's surface, Jake could see changes everywhere. New buildings had been constructed around the cave entrances. Gardens grew in areas that had been empty rock before, and there were aliens working alongside what looked like other species. Captain, Lisa said, looking out the shuttle window. Are those other aliens down there? Jake looked where she was pointing. Several different types of beings were moving around the settlement. Some were tall and thin, with blue skin. Others were short and covered in scales. It looks like the Bloodfang pack has made new friends, Jake said. When they landed, they were greeted by a crowd of aliens. The cubs they had saved were now healthy and strong, playing with alien children from other species. But what surprised Jake most was seeing adult aliens from different worlds working together. Skarthek approached with his arms spread wide. "Welcome back, Brother Jake of the Softclaws pack." "Brother?" Jake asked, confused by the title. "You are no longer outsiders." "To us," Skarthek explained. "When you risked your lives to save our cubs, you became part of our pack. All humans are now considered family to the Bloodfang." Grackmore stepped forward. He looked different too, less suspicious and more welcoming. "We have learned much from your example, soft humans," he corrected himself. "We have made alliances with 3 other species in this sector. Species we once hunted are now our partners." "How did that happen?" Tom asked. He was carrying medical supplies for any aliens who might need them. "We told them the story of the humans who saved our cubs," a new voice said. Jake turned to see an alien he didn't recognize. This one was tall and blue with large eyes. "I am Zealnock of the Crystal Singers," the blue alien said. "When the Bloodfang told us how humans risked everything to save alien children, we knew we had found a species worth knowing." A small-scaled alien stepped forward. "I am Smalltooth Crick of the Stone Builders. We were enemies of the Bloodfang for many years, but when they offered to share the human healing knowledge to save our sick, we became friends instead." Jake was amazed. "Our actions helped you make peace with your enemies?" "More than peace," Skarthek said proudly. "We formed the Hunters Alliance, 4 species working together to protect all children in this sector of space." Lisa was examining the Yaowain, healthy cubs with her scanner. "All the cubs we treated are completely well. But Captain, look at this." She showed him her readings. "They've developed immunity to dozens of other diseases too. Our treatment did more than cure them." An alien healer approached. It was one of the same healers who had helped save Kate Foster months before. "Your medicine was stronger than we knew. It made our cubs healthier than they had ever been. Now sickness barely touches them." Kate Foster stepped forward. "We'd like to share more of our medical knowledge with you. And we'd like to learn more about your plant medicines. Knowledge shared freely makes all packs stronger," Skarthek agreed. As they toured the settlement, Jake saw something that filled his heart with joy. Human and alien children were playing together. The alien cubs they had saved were teaching human children how to hunt small game. Human children were showing alien cubs how to build things with tools. "They don't see differences," Tom observed, watching a human girl and an alien cub working together to solve a puzzle. To them, they're just friends. That evening, there was a great ceremony. Representatives from all 4 allied species gathered around a huge fire. Skarthek stood to address the crowd. "6 months ago, soft creatures came to our world," he began. "We thought they were weak because they had no claws or fangs. We thought they were prey because they did not hunt. We were wrong about everything." The crowd listened quietly as Skarthek continued. "These humans taught us the most important lesson a hunter can learn. The strongest pack is not the one that can kill the most enemies. The strongest pack is the one that will die to protect the innocent." Grackmore stood next. "Before the humans came, we measured strength by how fierce a warrior could fight. Now we know that true strength is measured by how much you will sacrifice for others." Zealnock of the Crystal Singers added, "The humans showed us that there are no strangers, only friends we have not met yet." Smalltooth Crick spoke last. "When someone will risk everything to save your children, they become your family forever." Then Skarthek called Jake forward. "Brother Jake of the Softclaws pack, we have a gift for you." He presented Jake with a necklace made of rare stones from all 4 allied worlds. "This marks you as a hunt leader among stars. You are the first human to be given full citizenship in the Hunters Alliance." Lisa was called forward next. "Healer Lisa, cub saver of all packs, we name you our chief medical advisor." Will you help us share healing knowledge across the Alliance? Lisa accepted, the honor with tears in her eyes. I will be proud to serve. The ceremony continued long into the night. But the moment Jake would remember forever came when a small alien cub approached him. It was Scarthek's daughter, the first cub they had successfully treated. Thank you. For making me better, she said in carefully practiced English. My daddy says you're the reason I'm alive. Jake knelt down to her level. Your daddy is right, but do you know why we helped you? The cub shook her head. Because protecting children is the most important job in the universe, Jake told her. And it doesn't matter if they're human children or alien children. All children deserve to be safe and healthy. The cub hugged Jake with her small arms. As Jake hugged her back, he realized this was why humans explored space. Not to conquer or claim territory, but to find new friends and make the universe a safer place for all children. As the Aurora prepared to leave again, this time with permanent ambassadors staying behind, Jake watched the allied species working together. What had started as a medical emergency had become something much bigger. It had become proof that compassion could bridge any gap between species. Captain, Alex said as they entered hyperspace toward Earth. We're receiving messages from 12 other species in nearby systems. They all want to meet the humans who saved the alien cubs. Jake smiled. Set course for Earth first. We need to tell our people that we're not alone in the universe anymore, and we need to tell them that the universe is full of friends waiting to be made. The stars looked different now as the Aurora headed home. They looked like pathways to new friendships, new alliances, and new chances to prove that the strongest force in the universe was not weapons or fear, but the simple willingness to protect those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy had learned why even the fiercest hunters trusted humans with their cubs, and that lesson would echo across the stars for generations to come.